Okay, students, here's another practice for your quiz. So we'll work through these problems again. Again, your quiz will look just like this with different numbers. All right, number one, multiplying fractions. We cross cancel. So first I'm going to check my negative signs. I notice I have three negatives, so the answer is going to be negative. Anytime there's an odd number of negatives, it's negative, and even number of negatives is positive. 5 goes into 45 9 times, 7 goes into 42 6 times. 9 times 6 is 54. Number two, we're going to do, or 6, we're going to go across here. First we distribute, then combine like terms. So we have 5x minus 35, and then a positive times a negative is a negative. Come on, there we go. So minus 14x equals negative 6 minus 4x. Now we combine like terms. When we say combine like terms, that means on the same side of the equal sign. So is there anything to combine there together? And is there anything to combine there together? On the right side, there's nothing to combine, so it just stays like that. The left side, though, we have a 5x minus a 14x. So we have negative 9x minus 35 equals negative 6 minus 4x. Now I ask myself, which side do I want to bring the variables to? I always want to take the smaller variable to the larger side. So negative 9 is smaller than negative 4. So I'm going to move the negative 9 term across to the other side. So how do I move a term across the equal sign? I do the opposite operation. So what's the opposite of negative 9x? Plus 9x. Plus 9x. That's not a division sign. I'm just underlining there. Okay, and since the variables are going to the right, the constant, remember a number by itself is called a constant, goes to the left. The opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. This is an entire term. Whenever we move terms across, it's either a plus or minus only. When you move part of a term across, then that's where multiplication and division comes across. But the entire term, which are separated plus or minus signs, it's only can be a positive or negative. So 0 there, 0 there, 6 minus 35 is negative 29 equals negative 9x minus 4x is 5x. And last set, divide by 5 on both sides, I get negative 29 fifths. Least common multiple means which number, which is the smallest number that goes into both, that both these numbers will go into. So first thing I always ask myself, does the smaller go right into the larger? Is 4 going to 12? Yes, it does. And so that's automatically it. If 12 goes in 12 and 4 goes in 12. If it didn't, I'd have to double that larger number, triple it until I found a number that went into it. Number 3, subtracting mixed number from fraction, or simple fraction from a mixed number. You can either leave it as mixed number or change it to a improper fraction of subtraction. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it. So remember I told you to write it as vertical, get my common denominator, or least common multiple, same thing. That's why you're just practicing it there in 2. It's 20. 4 and 5, the smallest number they both go into is 20. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4. And don't forget the negative sign. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 3 is 15. So if remember the denominator stays the same, and I just subtract the numerator. So 15 minus 4 is 11. If that's simplified, I'd have to simplify it more. It does not, so I am done. Number 7. First thing you want to do is multiply your two signs together, get down to 1. Second, the shortcut way is, since it says 6 times that quantity, opposite of times is division, and I'm dividing because 6 divides into negative 24 evenly. So I'm left with just x plus 4 equals negative 4. Subtract 4 across from both sides, and therefore x equals negative 8 integers. All right, we'll come down to number 8 now. Negatives and negatives are divided by negative is a positive, so those are both positives now. Remember, we solve all equations with reverse PEMDAS. Always written like this. Okay, and therefore we add or subtract across. Remember, if we're adding or subtracting across, we're moving an entire term across. And so we're moving that negative 14 across, so we're adding 14 to both sides. And now I'm left with 7 6 x equals, what's 14 minus 8? 6. Now we're up to multiply and divide. Notice I'm only taking part of the term. I'm only taking the 7 6, getting rid of that. That's why it's multiply or divide. Multiply by the reciprocal, because division is multiplication by the reciprocal. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side. Cancel out, cancels out. X equals 36 over 7. If there was cross cancel, I'd do it, but there is not, so I just multiply straight across, which means it's then reduced already right there. Number 4, we got to remember PEMDAS. Now we're going down. Why are we going down? Because there's no variables involved. So I go down. There's no parentheses, there's no exponents. I do multiplication and division, whichever comes first, left or right. There's a multiplication and there's a division. So I need to do those first. And then lastly, I do the addition. So cross cancel, 8 goes in 24 3 times. I get 3 over 3, which is 1 right there, plus, go ahead and change division to multi. I could reduce this if I wanted to 10 25ths, divide each by 5, and I get 2 fifths. Well, now I should recognize 2 fifths divided by 2 fifths is 1. Okay, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. It's not going to always come out nicely like that. You might get fractions, and you have to add the fractions together. This comes nice. Number 5, negative divided by negative is a positive. All I have is one term. I need to get rid of part of that term. So I'm going to be multiplying or dividing, multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's 5/8. So that cancels out to 1. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. So those cancel out to 1x equals the 8 cancels the 48 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. And there's my answer. Let's see, anything else? That is it. Okay. So again, you can write these out again on paper, work them out, and you can see if you get the right answer because you have the answer key right here with the right work. Okay, you got to show me this work. No work, no credit.